Nate Bargatze, the Be Funny Tour.
I mean, Chuck E. Cheese is rough. I don't know if you've been there in a while. They look like they're trying to go to business and they can't.
All new material.
They filed for bankruptcy and they're still open. They called Blockbuster and they're like, how do you get out? We want out.
Nate Bargatze.
Friday, May 31st, FedEx Forum. Tickets available at FedEx Forum box office or Ticketmaster.com. Produced by Outback Presents.
Nate Bargatze, the Be Funny Tour.
This week, we're looking at our favorite black sitcoms. Mike, what do you got on your list?
It starts off with A Different World,
Okay.
the show that we're talking about.
I don't know. When's the last time you watched A Different World? Find it, watch it with the family. It is a phenomenal show, still to this day. Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
I think we have the college basketball title futures. UConn's number one.
I really like Houston. I'd have them winning it all, but you can't be giving Drake jerseys. What is wrong with you?
Maybe the Drake curse is stronger in college basketball.
How long has he been riding with Kentucky?
He wore an Alabama jersey and Saban retired.
The Odds Couple with Rob Fisher, Lang Whitaker, John Roser, and CJ Hurt live Thursdays at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Now for a limited time, the new $1.99 crispy tender wraps are here at Sonic. Who could deny a crispy chicken tender with bold flavors like hickory barbecue and cheesy Baja? And we can't forget the crisp lettuce and melty cheese to make the perfect bite. Wrap yourself up with some TLC, tender, love, and chicken for only $1.99. Sonic $1.99 crispy tender wraps. Tax not included, limited time only at participating Sonic drive-ins.
From the Built Ford Tough studio at FedEx Forum, it's the Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South, on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. Now, here's your host, Gary Parrish.
All right, I'm here. My name is Gary Parrish. I'm speaking to you from the Built Ford Tough studio, FedEx Forum, downtown Memphis. Bennett Doyle producing the program. Glad he's with me. Glad you're with me. Hope you're getting through the day best you can. And I hope you didn't trust the Indiana Pacers last night to steal a game one on the road in Boston, because there's one thing I learned about the Pacers last night, Bennett, is that they can't be trusted. They can't be trusted. They were up 3. They had the ball. Less than 10 seconds to play. You got to win that game. But they didn't win that game. They didn't foul up 3. It was a disaster of epic proportions. We'll talk about it momentarily. First, though, quickly, let me set today's schedule for you. In the next segment, about 20 minutes, Mike Wallace going to join me, senior editor, Grind City Media. I'll talk with Mike about the NBA playoffs, Eastern Conference Finals last night, Western Conference Finals tonight. Mike Wallace going to be in studio in about 20 minutes. When I finish talking to him, I'll take a break, come back and do 5 more things you need to know, at which point we're going to discuss 5 previously undiscussed stories. Among them, Penny Hardaway went on a podcast and discussed what NIL deals are looking like these days. He said something that's getting a lot of attention. He said, some of these players are now making more than my assistant coaches. And everybody's like, oh, wow, that's wild. Here's my question. Why is that wild? Why shouldn't the best players in college basketball and college football be making more than assistant coaches? They're worth more. They're more valuable. I'll expand on that. We'll do it in about 40 minutes. Victor Wembanyama has been voted first team all-defense as a rookie. That's a rare thing. I'll tell you how unusual it is. We'll do that in just a bit. Chandler Parsons, he went on a podcast. Everybody's going on podcasts these days. And trashed Memphis, Tennessee. You see this?
I did see it.
He trashed Memphis, Tennessee. Daniel Tosh even tried to, let him walk it back a little bit, and he just doubled down and continued to trash Memphis, Tennessee. We'll play the clip for you. It was rude. We'll show it to you in the third segment. Apple has released a new list of the top 10 albums of all time.
Jeez, we got some controversial topics coming up in 5 more things.
Woo.
My God.
Woo. The woman responsible for the album that Apple says is the best album of all time. She was just here in Memphis a few weeks ago. We told you she was a legend. Today, Apple confirmed it. We'll get into that list a little later on in the show. And Netflix has reportedly purchased 50 Cent's documentary on Diddy. What a wild sentence to say out loud.
Wait, is the documentary made?
Is
he working on it?
It's in the. I mean, it feels like you got to update this one, every day or so. We got a new accuser just came out yesterday.
Man,
it seems like it's probably a work in progress. But there was reportedly a bidding war for it. 50 Cent has made a Diddy documentary, or is in the process of making a Diddy documentary. There was a bidding war for it. It's gone to Netflix.
Okay.
I'll tell you everything else TMZ told me. We'll do that during a segment we call 5 More Things You Need to Know. Then we'll do GP's carry-out and call today. So that's the rundown. We got a lot to get to. But I did want to start with the 2024 NBA playoffs because after last night's Game 1 in Boston, we are now 32 full days into the 2024 NBA playoff. Can you believe that?
It was yesterday.
Can you believe it?
Feels like it was just yesterday.
32 full days, and day 32 provided us with something I think Memphis Tiger fans can relate to, specifically blowing a high-profile game in regulation before losing in overtime.
Yes.
We've done that.
Yes, we have.
You remember that?
Oh, I remember it well.
Jaylen Brown equals Mario Chalmers if you'll play along.
Mm-hmm.
Jaylen Brown.
It was kind of Chalmers-esque.
Jaylen Brown now represents Mario Chalmers for Pacers fans. The final score, Boston 133, Indiana 128. We got that finished in overtime. The Pacers were up 3 with the ball, 8.1 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. You cannot lose this game. You're up 3. You have the ball. There's less than 10 seconds to play. You cannot lose this game, but they lost the game.
Yeah.
Turnover. Jaylen Brown buries a three-pointer to tie it with 6 seconds left from the corner. We're in the fourth steal. Indiana still has one last chance to avoid overtime. They got 6 seconds left. They're coming down the court. Tyrese Halliburton passes up a clean look. Like you can see he thinks about it.
Yep.
But then he no, I'm going to keep dribbling. He dribbles right into, all sorts of different people. Ended up taking a contested shot at the buzzer. Not even close, bud. Poor decision. We go to overtime. And in that moment, if I could have, I would have bet everything I owned on Boston.
Oh, for sure.
Because
I don't even pay attention to overtime. You knew that thing was over.
The same way.
Yeah.
When I was sitting in San Antonio in 2008 and that game went to overtime, I said, I guess you could never say never, but I'd be shocked if Memphis can win these next 5 minutes. Feels like Kansas is about to be your national champion. The same way I thought that back in 2008. As soon as this game went to overtime, I assumed that that Boston would win it, and Boston does win it in overtime. This is a lot like that 2008 Memphis-Kansas game where it's not one of those deals where one team is responsible for what happened. Last night, the Celtics could have closed those final 10 seconds playing the best basketball of the game, and they cannot win that game unless Indiana helps them win that game.
Mm-hmm.
The Pacers gave that away. Sure, Jaylen Brown made the shot to tie the score that ultimately took this contest to overtime, but he shouldn't have even had a shot for a tie in the final 10 seconds. You're up 3. You've got the ball. You've got to win that game. You ready for this?
Yep.
Here's how unusual it is to lose this game under these circumstances. Indiana last night became the first team since at least 1997-98 to lose a playoff game despite inbounding the ball up 3 in the final 10 seconds. That's according to Elias Sports Bureau.
Damn.
The data only goes back to 97-98, so that's why they have to say it's at least 97-98, but it could be further. This does not happen. When you have a 3-point lead and you're inbounding the ball with less than 10 seconds to play, you know the way this is supposed to go? You inbound the ball, they foul you, you make free throws, the game is over. Instead, it's a turnover. Jaylen Brown corner 3. Now we're in overtime, and the Celtics take game 1. They're now minus 2,000 to win the series. And I know, it ain't over. Celtics still got to win 3 more. And the Pacers have a path to the NBA Finals still. But when you give a game one away like that on the road, like it's yours, and then you just hand it over. What that more or less means is now you've got to beat this team 5 times because you had them beat once, all right? But it doesn't count as a win for you. It's a win for them. But, like, you won that game. You should have won that game. So let's just say for the sake of this conversation, if you'll play along, the Pacers beat them last night, all right? They just lost the game, but they beat them. They had the game won. Well, now you got to beat them 4 more times still. Ugh. Seems difficult, which is why the Celtics are, again, minus 2,000. 2 questions for you. How much fun did you have watching the second half of that game plus overtime? And did you know, like I knew, Pacers were done the second that thing went to an extra period?
Yeah, I mean, the game, it was a fun second half. I will say, I'm not ready to write off the Pacers after watching that last night. That was an idiotic way to finish the game. And, yes, it probably cost them the series. I think it'll probably cost them the series in the end. Boston's a heavy favorite even coming into this series. But, man, I watched that last night, and I still get that same feeling about the Celtics. Like, man, y'all play around too much sometimes. Right. Like you shouldn't have even been in that situation.
Like the whole world is talking about how you play around too much. You've had some time to think about and get prepared for this series. You would think if there was ever a time for you to shut your skeptics up, it would be game. Hey, everybody thinks we play around too much. How about we go out and beat these dudes by 25 in game 1 and reestablish ourselves as the clear-cut best team in the world?
That's the thing.
They don't do it.
Because can you imagine what we're talking about coming in here today if the Pacers win that game last night? Like, we're probably saying, dude, Boston this is going to come back and bite them. They play around too much, and they're probably going to lose this series because of how lackadaisical they've been in these playoffs at times. Now, it's obviously different with the Pacers giving away that game last night, but I'm not ready to write them off.
I'm not ready to write them off, I don't guess either, but, like, just mentally, what does that do to you? You know, like, man, we had 1. It's going to be hard to get 4 no matter what. Nobody thinks we can get 4 no matter what, but we had 1. Like, we were on our way.
Yeah.
You know, we were on our way to taking game 1, to taking control of home court advantage, to changing the entire narrative about our team and this series, and we just gave it to them. They had 2 turnovers in the final 27 seconds of regulation and in the final 5:30 of basketball. So the final 30 seconds of regulation plus the 5 minutes in overtime, Pacers had 5 turnovers and 2 field goals. 5 turnovers and 2 field goals. That is not a recipe for success. I saw some other people mention this last night, and I think it makes sense as well. You know what it felt like? Game 1 of 2018 NBA Finals. The Cavs Warriors. We're at Golden State, and the score's tied 107-107. Cleveland is right there, maybe about to steal game 1. George Hill is at the line. He had just made the first of 2 free throws. Now he's got the second. He's an 80% free throw shooter. All right? He's supposed to knock this down, at which point the Cavs would have been up a point, in the final seconds. He misses it. All right? But guess what happens? J.R. Smith gets the rebound. And then guess what happens? He doesn't seem to know what the score is.
That's the LeBron moment.
He thinks Cleveland is ahead, so he's trying to dribble out the clock or dribble it out until he gets fouled. But they're not fouling him because the score's tied. And LeBron does the thing.
What are you doing?
And
what a great moment.
You see him go back to the bench, and he's just seething. Like, I cannot believe this idiot didn't know time and score. And it's the first thing basketball coaches talk about to 6-year-olds. Time and score. You have to know time and score. You have to understand the set of circumstances we're dealing with here. Because if J.R. Smith offensive rebounds that and puts it back up, or starts playing like we got to get a bucket here in the final seconds of regulation, there's no telling how that plays out. Instead, the clock basically gets dribbled out. They go to overtime. They lose, and it felt exactly like this. Man, I didn't know if Cleveland was actually going to be able to beat the Warriors in the series, but it felt like they needed to get that one that they had, and they let it slip away.
Yeah.
And now I just don't know if they're going to be able to do it. And then, of course, they did not do it. last night felt like that. Like, I didn't know if you're going to be able to do this anyway, to win 4 games against this team. Like, if I'm talking to the Pacers, that's what I tell them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you were going to be able to do it anyway, but I'm pretty sure you ain't going to be able to do it now. Because once you have one of those in your back pocket, if you're going to upset the favorite, not just to win the East, but the entire title, you can't give games away like that. You can't give those away. They're hard enough to get. You can't give them away. They gave it away. Now they're down 0-1.
Yeah.
And we're 3 more Boston wins away from the Celtics being in the NBA Finals, where they will ultimately be joined, assuming they get there, by either the Minnesota Timberwolves or the Dallas Mavericks. Who's Mike Wallace thinks going to join the Celtics in the NBA Finals? I'll ask him that question and a bunch of other stuff. He'll be in here next.
I moved, I have a house now, house maintenance.
That's true.
Homeowners Association.
Homeowners Association.
That was what your mom wanted to talk to me about. She was so proud that not only are you on the Homeowner Association, that you go to the meetings and know every issue.
We've had speed bump problems.
The Chris Vernon Show, presented by Caesars Sportsbook, live weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Grizzlies fans know it's the team that gives you the edge. Big River Steel does too. And much like the Grizzlies have recruited legendary talent, we want you to be part of our team. Are you ready to be part of something legendary? Then visit www.bigriversteel.com. That's www.bigriversteel.com.
Ahead of you, catch me as something you'll never do. I turn around and I level you. No motivation is needed. Look, I put myself on the pedestal. This is incredible.
Take your fandom to the next level with the official Grizzlies app. Go all access and behind the scenes.
It's got to be heavy defense. That's where it starts for us.
Personalized to where you are and who you are. Get easy access to ticketing, the game day guide, and your own app customization right at your fingertips. Upgrade your experience and download the Grizzlies app today.
When it's all on the line, you turn to the strong, the stable, the unwavering. To those with a history of raising their performance to meet the moment. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy.
Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st. And you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Justin Timberlake. I'm bringing sexy back. The Forget Tomorrow World Tour. Live in Memphis. Justin Timberlake. FedEx Forum, Saturday, November 23rd. Get tickets now at livenation.com. The brand new single Selfish is available to stream and download now. For more, hit up justintimberlake.com.
Welcome back, Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. We're inside the Built Ford Tough studio, and on Wednesdays in the second segment, I'm joined by Grind City Media senior editor Mike Wallace. He's here right now. Hey, Mike Wallace.
What's going on, GP? How you doing?
I'm
man?
hanging in there.
All right.
I'm doing the best I can for, a middle of May
there you go.
Wednesday.
You ain't been staying out of trouble, man?
We're trying.
All right.
We're doing the best we can. I don't know.
Because I'm seeing the clips. I'm catching the shows.
I don't know if we're succeeding.
It is getting a little wild.
I don't know if we're succeeding.
Lately, yeah.
But we're trying. We're putting in an effort. Let's go back to last night.
Yeah.
I mentioned in the opening segment, it felt like Game 1, 2018 NBA Finals, where Cleveland is at Golden State. They're underdogs, but it's like LeBron, so you never know. And they got the game, or at least they're in a position to win the game. They got an 80% free throw shooter at the line, few seconds left, tie score. He makes that, they probably win the game. Offensive rebound, once he misses it, J.R. Smith doesn't know time and score. That gets all screwed up. And that night, everybody was like, God, they had it. They gave it away, stupid reasons. And now I just don't know if they were going to ever win this, they needed to get that one.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like with the Pacers last night. I don't know that they were going to be able to win this anyway, but you can't give one of those away.
Man, it's tough.
Right.
It really is. And that's a great game to draw back to because
the photo, the major photo that came out of Getty Images was LeBron James like this.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I screenshotted that and made a poster of it.
Oh, wow.
Because that's like my mindset. You know, when I'm looking around the office, when I'm looking around at why things are going the way they are, I'm like, come on, it's right here. I remember that game, man. It was crazy. I do think the difference, though, is that game Cleveland had in their hands. Like, it was theirs, and they had the possession to determine it. Indiana was defensively in position where, you know, it took Jaylen Brown, you know, making an incredible shot.
Yeah, but even before that, they had the ball with less than
Tyrese
10.
turned it over.
And they turned it over. And I thought Tim Legler did an incredible – he's just great. But he did a great breakdown of this last night, just – the details. It's like Halliburton should have cut here instead of here, and just the attention to details. These very minor things that an untrained eye wouldn't even pick up on. He was like, this is how you allow Jaylen Brown to stay in this play to create this turnover. It was just these where I saw some other people say they showed their age a little bit. Maybe that's it. They they did. It was a maturity thing closing out those games. But I do think I think Boston comes away from that game a little more concerned than Indiana because the nature of the Knicks-Pacers series was so erratic that Indiana had to keep coming back from like major letdowns, right, and blowouts. I think they have some kind of fortitude to come back and say, okay, guess what? Like Tatum had 36, Brown had almost 30. Horford played well above his averages, right? Drew Holiday scored more than Drew Holiday normally scores. So Boston played to its pretty much its max that it's capable of playing. Basically, when you look at Indiana, no one really played well above what they were normally supposed to play. So it's almost like, okay, we got the game to our pace. We played our regular, production, and they needed something miraculous to beat us. If we can bring that back for game 2, maybe we can still steal one. Boston has a lot more to think about now. They're in a series. Indiana, no matter what you say, they're playing, and I'm not saying you, but no matter what anyone says, they're playing with house money at this point. So they should be loose. Well, that's an interesting perspective because on one hand you might, and I did say this in the opening segment, like, man, you just don't know what that does to you losing a game like that mentally. How do you recover from that? Well, this is a Pacers team that was just down 0-2 to the Knicks. They recovered from that. They had to go to the Garden for a game 7.
And won there.
They won there. I'm probably more shook by this than they are.
Right. And Halliburton's nature is just happy-go-lucky, right? He's just he's an affable guy. Miles Turner doesn't crack under pressure. Those guys just simply play the way they play. Nembhard and Siakam and all of those guys that are there, they're just role players that are playing hard. And the one thing that Boston is facing for the first time in this playoff series is a team that's healthy and a team that's deep. Right? They hadn't faced those two things. So this is going to be – I still would pick Boston in – I originally picked them in 5. I think it may go 6, but it wouldn't surprise me if Indiana did something, won a game, and made it go 7 and made Boston have to win it at home.
I was talking to Vernon yesterday about the Celtics, and one of the points I made is that if I didn't tell you who they were or what year it is, I just said, hey, there's a professional basketball team in the NBA, and this is their record. They won their conference by this many games. They were top 5 in offensive efficiency, top 5 in defensive efficiency. You would go, man, they must be great. And yet people rarely talk about the Celtics as great. They go, I don't know if you can trust them. Is this a deal where nobody's going to trust them, or few people are going to – they're going to have to win people over by winning the whole thing?
They are, because it's almost like we've seen you get to this point before. We've seen it time and time again. When you get to the NBA Finals or the Conference Finals 5 times or as many times they gotten there, it's almost like, okay, at some point you got to go ahead and have the coronation. Denver now is out of the way. So the biggest team that people thought you might have a stumble against, they're out of the way. Anybody else now is either ahead of schedule or not championship mature yet. So now there's no reason. But I still think until Porzingis comes back, this isn't the same dynamic Boston team that we saw all regular season. This is more like the Boston team we saw against Golden State and some of these other forms. I think Porzingis makes them so dynamic and so indefensible that when he's not there, it takes them down a peg, and they become a little bit more vulnerable. So, we'll see. I do think Boston will win it all, but I don't think it's going to be as easy as many people may have thought.
Yeah, they don't make things too easy. Even though they did get out of their first 2 series in 5 games. I mean, I guess by definition that's on the easy side. But it just never looks easy or feels easy when you watch the series unfold. So we'll see where this one goes. Tonight we get Game 1, Western Conference Finals. Mavericks and Timberwolves, Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving on one side, Anthony Edwards on the other. I don't know that this is the Western Conference Finals everybody predicted, but I'm fired up for it.
I am too, because of the way it turned out.
Yeah.
Right? And I think there's a compelling nature to either one of these teams winning. I try to look at things from because we work here, right? And we're around the Grizzlies all the time from a Grizzlies perspective. That Dallas team scares me a lot more than the Minnesota team does. And I'm thinking Dallas, for whatever reason, they have two ultimate closers and a lot of live bodies that are around the rim too. And so if I'm looking at which team is going to be tougher for me to match up against if the Grizzlies are full, I think it'll be Dallas more so than Minnesota. That's not to take anything away from Minnesota, but who do I think will win this series? I think Minnesota will win it, but it truly is a toss-up.
Yeah.
Like it truly is a toss-up. And if you're a basketball junkie, you're going to love this series for a lot of different reasons.
Is Kyrie Irving changing the way people think about him or talk about him? Like it was not too long ago where he was sort of the poster boy of
controversy.
Right, the vaccine stuff. He was considered a bad teammate, a bad employee. Like people would accurately point out, hey, since he won a title with LeBron, everywhere he's gone, they've gotten better after he left. And oh, by the way, he never won anything before LeBron got to Cleveland.
Right.
And then he wasn't happy winning a championship with LeBron, demanded a trade. This guy, if you're in the Kyrie Irving business, you're making a mistake. A lot of people said that when Dallas went down this path, and yet here he is in the Western Conference Finals, looking like he gets along with his teammates, looking coachable, saying and doing all the right things. It's just been interesting to sort of watch.
He's sounding mature and like a leader. We all know that. Like those of us who have been around Kyrie, and you've been around him for a long time as well too. He's one of the most intelligent players. Not basketball intelligent, just intelligent. Period. He's almost too intelligent for this universe, right? When it comes to that.
Well, it's almost like he's clearly a smart guy.
Yeah.
Like when people say things like Kyrie Irving's an idiot, he says some idiotic stuff sometimes.
Right.
But he's like I bet you could sit down and have a pretty fascinating 45-minute conversation with Kyrie Irving. What I may be connecting way too many dots here, but he strikes me as a smart guy who is curious, like he wants to learn, but because he was so awesome at basketball, he only spent 1 year on a college campus.
7 games.
Right. Yeah. So he still has this thirst, to this desire to learn. And I just feel like sometimes he's learning too much on YouTube as opposed to in a proper educational setting.
And you know who he reminds me of in that sense? The younger Kobe.
Yeah.
Kobe was that same way. Basketball savant, basketball robot, and then he just articulated his way through life in a way that he processed things on a level that a lot of people just couldn't understand and comprehend. But I do think Kyrie has made a calculated attempt to be a better brand this year.
Right.
And it reminds me, you talked about leading up to this, people were saying the same thing about Minnesota last year. The trade with Gobert didn't work. It wasn't a good fit. It was malcontent. Guys were fighting among the bench, among each other, and it didn't work. And then you just give it another season to play out, and everything sort of settled, right? I think for whatever reason, as much criticism as Jason Kidd has gotten at other stops in his career, that nature, that tough-mindedness, his way of doing things has been good for Kyrie and Luka, because he's not afraid of those guys.
Right.
Like, he's not afraid of losing his job. He was on a hot seat earlier in the season, and now he got an extension out of it because of the improvement that they made. Kyrie is not going out of his way to be a controversial figure. He's out of New York now, so everything that he does or wears or says isn't nitpicked like it will be in the New York media market. But he's also being careful not to, throw gasoline on certain fires when he doesn't need to, and that's smart on his part.
Right. If you look at certainly in the West, but I think in the East as well, more so in the West though, you have these franchises that made big decisions, like franchise-changing decisions, and it could go either way. And a lot of people thought it might go the wrong way, and it's popped for these guys. In Dallas, man, you're getting in the Kyrie Irving business. Good luck. Well, they're in the Western Conference Finals. In Minnesota, it was like you're going and getting Rudy Gobert to play with Karl Anthony Towns. Good luck. It's not 1985 anymore. Well, they're in the Western Conference Finals, right?
Phoenix went the other way, but yes.
And then in the East, Boston had a pretty good thing going with Marcus Smart, and they said, we're going to try to do something different, and it looks like it's a wise decision at this point. And then the Pacers also made a big move at the trade deadline. Like, you got these franchises. I don't know if there's a lesson there for us here, but you do have these franchises who said, let's try to improve now and go wherever this thing can take us. And at least in these 4 instances, it's worked out pretty well.
I see where you're going. Yes, yeah. and you're right. You're right. And like I mentioned Phoenix because they made a bold move and went the other way.
Right.
But all 4 of those teams, you're absolutely right, made a smart, calculated, strategic move. And even when you look at the Pacers, because if you're dealing a deck, the Pacers will be the last team that you talk about in that sense. But they made a bold trade because Sabonis was a hell of a player in Indiana, and they gave him up to get Halliburton, right? So that was smart. And then obviously the
Pascal Siakam
trade worked out. They signed Bruce Brown coming off of Denver's championship team, and they said, this is not a good fit here. We can upgrade from there. So they made some smart strategic moves. I thought, bringing in that coaching staff the way that they did was smart. And, Indiana's a team that they're ahead of the curve right now. And no matter what happens from here on in this Boston series, I think that's a team in the East you're going to have to reckon with because I don't see them having any weaknesses. They do need a closer, though, a certified closer. And if they can address that, then I think that puts them in the upper echelon if they can come back and do it. But what we do know now is that there's no such thing as a 2, 3, 4 year window.
Right.
Your window is right now.
Right.
And you can't assume that, hey, we can get this next year or the year after. You got to go all in right now.
And it's funny because in other sports, sometimes you'll look at it and you'll go, well, we're just not good enough to beat the Chiefs, we're never going to get past the 49ers or whatever. Like in the NBA playoffs, I really do think that approach is backwards because you might not think you're good enough to beat the healthy Celtics or the healthy Nuggets or the healthy, but what we see every year is you don't know who you're playing and you don't know who's going to be healthy and who isn't. And if you can catch a window, which is what the Pacers just did, the Pacers are in the Eastern Conference Finals because the Knicks fell apart. That's the reason. No disrespect, but that's why they're there. I just think in the NBA, you should build a team that is capable if everything breaks your way, and then let's just see what happens.
See what happens. The Pacers are this year's version of what we saw from the Hawks 2 years ago.
Yes.
When Trae Young got those guys to the Eastern Conference Finals, right? We didn't think that they belonged there, but in the East, you can make that kind of a run. In the West, you might be a championship certified team that can't get out of the first round.
Right.
So the East is a little more forgiving for a team to come out of nowhere and make a run like that than it is in the West. But with the Grizzlies being in the West, again, you can't just assume, all right, get healthy and then roll this out there because now you're going up against teams that have playoff-tested continuity, right? Minnesota and Dallas are – it struck me. Dallas is in the conference finals for like the second or third time in the last 4 years. And I don't even remember – but now that I had to think about it, they were in there a few years ago against Phoenix, right? So Luka has gotten to that point. Now you're seeing Ant Edwards get to that point. Oklahoma City got to a Game 7 type situation. Those are all places that the Grizzlies have yet to get to yet. So they can't just say, all right, we're going to get healthy and jump into this mix. They got to earn their way up there, but they have the talent to. But it just shows you how steep a climb this hill is in the West.
Another interesting thing that's happening right now is that when the Warriors dynasty was in its peak, they'd go to that small ball lineup with Draymond at the 5, and playing small became the thing.
Yep.
Now, all I hear is like Minnesota's so big, and they're too big, and is that flipping at all, or is it just a reminder that there are different ways to play basketball?
No, it's a reminder there are different ways to play basketball because Boston was big, and then they had to go small. Horford is, he's 6'10", 6'11", but he plays a perimeter brand, right? They play outside in. I just think it's stylistic, and sometimes when you go so far, when the industry goes so far away one way, and there are outliers that go the other way and find success, it shifts.
Right.
And then it's just basically, what are you best at? What are you going to have to go up against? You're going to have a front line in Denver. You're going to have a front line in Minnesota, and you'll see where it goes from there. But I do think you want to be dynamic as much as possible to have counters just in case you run up against those kind of teams.
Last thing before I get you out of here, we're both taking Boston to get to the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
I know you said it's a coin flip, and I understand why you said it, but if I got to make you pick it, Timberwolves or Mavericks, who's advanced into the NBA Finals?
Man, I want Minnesota to.
So do I.
I believe Dallas will. So I'm stuck. Right. But if I had to pick, and I'm gonna go Minnesota.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Minnesota.
I think I don't know that it comes down to home court advantage.
Right.
But with two teams that are pretty comparable, I think, in ability, give me home court advantage team. And like Luka is still like not 100%. Like he hadn't talked, but it won't surprise me at all if 1 week after the Maverick season's over, whenever that is.
He's on a surgical table.
Yes.
Yeah.
That you'll hear like Luka Doncic had successful knee surgery, whatever.
Yeah.
You'll hear. I won't be surprised if we hear that. So that makes me lean toward Minnesota, but who knows?
It's man. I'm looking forward to this series.
Right.
Like I really am. I mean, I know it is not sexy for NBA, and if you look at it, I guess the league would want, if the league could say who they wanted, what they wanted, probably Boston and Dallas, just because of the markets and the international superstar,
Sure.
Luka, Kyrie being the name. Like that's the matchup you would want in the finals. You certainly wouldn't want Indiana, Minnesota.
You don't want Indiana anything. You want. I think Boston, Dallas is great.
Yeah.
Boston, Minnesota, you can
live with that.
Yeah, because it's like Anthony Edwards on this big stage as the 22-year-old face of everything.
Right.
Either one of those fine. You just can't have the Pacers. The Pacers would be a disaster, but we're not going to get the Pacers, so it's fine.
We'll see.
We'll
man.
see. We'll
Yes,
see.
yes.
All right. Game 1, Western Conference Finals tonight. Mike Wallace says Timberwolves. Did you say Timberwolves?
I said Timberwolves. I did say. I was floppy, flip-flop, but Timberwolves. Yeah.
Timberwolves for here as well. I appreciate you being here, buddy.
Anytime, man. Thank you.
We come back. Penny Hardaway jumped on a podcast and discussed what NIL deals are looking like. Said now players are making more, in some cases, than his assistant coaches, which makes sense to me. I'll tell you why. We'll get into that next. Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South.
I think we have the college basketball title futures. UConn's number 1.
I really like Houston. I'd have them winning it all, but you can't be giving Drake jerseys. What is wrong with you?
Maybe the Drake curse is stronger in college basketball.
How long has he been riding with Kentucky?
He wore an Alabama jersey and Saban retired.
The Odds Couple with Rob Fisher, Lang Whitaker, John Roser, and CJ Hurt live Thursdays at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
You had 7 games where you had 5 assists or more. Do you know how many times prior to that in your NBA career you have had 5 assists in a game? Twice.
How about that?
Your playmaking Jared. Playmaking Jared.
Jason Kidd.
Jason Kidd's crazy. Trip Kidd is crazy.
The Chris Vernon Show, presented by Caesars Sportsbook, live weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
This is an actual good shoe.
Yeah,
like
looks
this
like a
is
good
a
shoe.
real good shoe.
What you think about him, KJ? She likes Cheetos.
Like Cheetos?
Yeah,
like
nay.
Cheetos.
You like Cheetos? For kids, yeah, nay.
That's what I mean. For kids,
For kids,
1,000%.
Yeah.
And honestly, if I was still playing basketball, I played in brightly colored shoes. I wore pink shoes a lot of the time or purple shoes. Like, I like that. The Sneak Fest Show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
LifeCare Ambulance is proud to be an official partner of the Memphis Grizzlies and FedEx Forum. At LifeCare, they wear their hearts with pride. Their passion is their people. They want you to love what you do and where you do it. Their employee-driven culture encourages a healthy work-life balance and supportive work environment. They invest in your success and well-being so that you can provide the best care for the patients that they serve. Join the incredible team of EMTs and paramedics in Memphis, Nashville, and across the nation today. Learn more at lifecareamb.com.
Lindsey Harding has gotten a chance to interview for the Charlotte Hornets vacancy.
She's proven that she could coach on the men's side. She's done a fantastic job and got this G League opportunity and was Coach of the Year. This is fantastic for women's basketball.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizby, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Orthopedic injuries can be unpredictable, unforeseen, and unscheduled, and Ortho South understands this better than anyone. Since your injuries don't make appointments, you don't need to either, and that's because Ortho South welcomes walk-ins during the weekdays and the evenings and even on Saturdays. So next time an unforeseen injury makes an unscheduled appearance in your life, visit orthosouth.org to find your nearest urgent care location. Just walk in, and Ortho South will take care of everything, especially you. Learn more at orthosouth.org. That's OrthoSouth at orthosouth.org. Now, I got 5 more things you need to know.
Number 1.
Penny Hardaway went on a podcast with Evan Turner and Andre Iguodala and discussed a number of things, including the transfer of his son, Ashton Hardaway, to St. Mary's, said he thinks it'll just be better for all involved. It must have been a difficult situation.
Yeah.
Last season. Your son's on the team. It's a top 100 recruit, but he doesn't really get much playing time. Turns out didn't really want to be here in the first place. Penny said that he thinks Ashton wanted to come to Memphis, try to make his father proud, but ultimately Memphis ain't really his. The young man.
He's not from here.
He went to school in California.
Yeah.
So now he's going back to California, and he'll probably, hopefully, become a West Coast Conference star. In addition to that, Penny talked about name, image, and likeness. They asked him if it's fun, and he sort of smiled and said, "I don't know if this is fun, but it just, I'm happy that the players are getting money now. They deserve it." But then he added, in some of these situations, the players are now making more money than my assistant coaches. And he says that, like, can you believe this? And, the podcast hosts are like, that's crazy. Why is it crazy? This is one of those things where it's been fascinating to watch this because we used to give players literally nothing other than a scholarship, and it wasn't too long ago. Now we think that when somebody gets $200,000 or $300,000 or $800,000, it's like, can you believe this? Like the idea that was the thing that struck me. You had 3 basketball people talking to each other, 3 men who understand the sport and understand the money involved and understand everything about it, and they all 3 were like, that's crazy. A college basketball player making more than an assistant coach? That's wild. Like Penny framed it that way for the effect of it. Why is it crazy that a star college basketball player is making more money than an assistant basketball coach? Why is that crazy? It's presented as if it's bananas. I think it's the most normal thing in the world because think about any other sport. Because we more or less are calling college football and college basketball professional sports now. Everybody is operating with an understanding that these are billion-dollar operations in some cases. There's lots and lots of money flying around, right? So this is more or less professional sports. Okay. Is it crazy that people who play for the Grizzlies make more than Grizzlies assistant coaches?
No.
Nobody, of course not. Is it crazy that, there are players on the Kansas City Chiefs who I guarantee you make more than the assistant coaches, not to mention the head coaches? Nobody thinks that's crazy. Nobody thinks it's crazy that Patrick Mahomes makes more money than the Chiefs offensive coordinator. So why is it crazy that college basketball players in some cases are now making more money than assistant coaches? You ready for this? They should be making more money than assistant coaches. They're more valuable than assistant coaches. I mean, all due respect to all assistant coaches everywhere, but I'd rather have an All-American point guard than whoever you think the best assistant coach in America is. Give me the All-American point guard. That guy's worth more money. Right? He should be. So he should be compensated in that way. I just think we've still got this thing so backwards. Like there's a big settlement that's happening right now. You might have heard something about it. The NCAA is in the process of settling a big class action lawsuit that is going to result in billions of dollars in damages having to be paid out. Nearly $3 billion. That's the settlement. Billion with a B. Now, you might go, my God, that's a lot of money. But if they'd have gone to court and lost, and they probably would have lost if they'd gone to court, you know what that settlement probably looks like? Instead of $3 billion, $20 billion. So that's why they're in the process of settling. But part of this settlement is that going forward, power conference schools, so schools in the Power 4 conferences now, Big 10, SEC, Big 12, ACC, they will be allowed to directly pay their athletes up to $20 million a year. That's like the salary cap that is a part of this settlement, $20 million a year. And people are going, $20 million a year? That's crazy. They're going to be spending $20 million a year on players? You ready for this? It sounds crazy because it used to be nothing. You know where I'm at on it? I don't think it's enough. Why is $20 million enough? Who decided that? You know, in the NBA, players get 50% of basketball income. You know, it's 50, like we made this amount of money, 50% of it's going to be put towards player salaries. That's how you get the salary cap. NFL, I think it's around 48%. So why is $20 million the number in college athletics?
That's a fair question.
Okay.
Yeah.
The Big Ten tax records were just published last week. They just, from their media rights deal, gave each school $60 million. Well, $20 million ain't 50% of that, right?
That's right.
Okay, and that doesn't even include, that's just $60 million right off the top. Doesn't even include ticket sales. You fill up these football stadiums, basketball arenas. Doesn't include that. Doesn't include merchandising, any of this stuff. So why is $20 million enough? It ain't even close to half. And in the NBA, it's half. NFL is roughly half. It's not even close to that here. So everybody's like, $20 million, that's crazy. How lucky are these players? I think they're still getting screwed. Think about this in any other professional sport. You're going to invest $20 million in all of your players. There are football coaches who make 10, 11, all right? In what sport? Imagine if the Kansas City Chiefs spent $20 million on their entire roster and $10 million on Andy Reid. That would be backwards, right? Mm-hmm. But that's what college athletics is going to be. You got college, you're going to have, in some cases on campuses, like 3 or 4 coaches making more money than all of the athletes. It's still not right. So all of this is new, that it's so new and so dramatically different than what we used to deal with that I think people still aren't properly processing the numbers, Penny Hardaway included. Like, I don't think it's crazy that David Jones is presumably going to make more money playing basketball at Memphis next season than all of the assistant coaches at Memphis. You ready for this? He should. He's worth more. The players are actually finally getting what it is people have determined they're worth. And the market should have them making more money than assistant coaches. It shouldn't be presented as like some hard-to-believe thing. It's the easiest thing in the world to believe. The only crazy thing is that it took us this long to get there.
Number 2.
History was made yesterday.
What's going on?
NBA announced that Victor Wembanyama is first-team all-defense.
He's pretty good.
You know how much we love first-team all-defense around these parts.
Yeah, I saw.
Wemby's first-team all-defense. History was made. You want to know why?
Uh-huh.
He is the first rookie to ever be named first-team all-defense. Historically unprecedented.
Is that true? The first rookie ever?
To be first-team all-defense. That's what they told me. That's what Google told me. You find that hard to believe?
Yes, that is pretty wild.
First team all defense is tough.
Still, I got to think that you've had some rookies that are just coming in. I mean, I guess not. And it is, all defense is kind of like it feels like that one is a bit of a reputation award in a sense. Like a lot of the guys that make that are guys that have been good defenders for a minute.
I think it used to be more of a reputation award. Now there's so much data available that the voters who take this seriously, and I think most of them do. I hope most of them do. Like there's so much data available. Like when Marc Gasol won his Defensive Player of the Year award, 20 years earlier, he would have never won that award.
Right.
He won that award based off of data, based off of people like Zach Lowe saying, take a look at this. But if you're just watching the games as a casual, you're not going to say, Mark, that guy's the best defensive player in the NBA. But there was so much data available that you could frame it like, man, you might not see it because he ain't, playing above the square, blocking shots into the third row. But the best defensive player in the world is Marc Gasol. Let me show it to you. All right? So I think voters are, I don't know if they're all more educated, but the information is out there for you to consume, and I hope most of them do. But yeah, also like I did always think this was a thing in baseball, and baseball is like basketball in the sense that there's way more data available. But like go back to the 80s when I'm growing up with baseball, it felt like if you had a reputation for being a great shortstop, you just going to string together like 5 straight gold gloves. Because it's like, oh yeah, well he's a great shortstop. Yep. But was he great this season defensively? I mean, he's great, I guess. But now all the data's out there. So Wemby deserving, and he has exceeded all expectations, wouldn't you say?
If he is ever not healthy, or I'm saying if he plays every single season and is healthy every single season, does he ever not make this list?
I mean, eventually he gets too old, like we all do. But as long as he's,
he's like a
until Victor Wembanyama,
that nigga will be able to block shots his whole career.
I'll put it this way: until he gets to a place in his career where we go, man, he's lost a step.
Sure.
Physically, he can't do what he used to do because he's at an advanced age now. Whether that's 32 or 38, I don't know when that happens. It varies with basketball players.
Yeah.
But until we reach the point where he's just, from an age perspective, unable to do what he used to do, he'll be all defense every year.
Every single year. Uh-huh.
Yes. He's amazing. Like the team still stunk.
They're coming though.
Yeah, I mean they're about to add 2 top 10 picks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean if they hit
or
them,
move them,
I
mean, if I'm them, I'm open for business. If I'm the Spurs, because you can win now with that guy. I feel like.
Well, you can win now with him if you got the right pieces around him.
Right.
It's just this whole push and pull. Like when do you jump?
When do you jump?
Like
you and Mike just talked about.
Because like on one hand, like let's just slow play this. He's still like 19 years old.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, he has made it clear I don't like losing. All right.
Yeah.
Like this is not fun for me.
Right.
All right. Like I understand it's a process, but going out there and getting your brains beat in every night, like that's not fun.
Yep.
And I don't know that he's putting pressure on them, but when you combine some players, I guess, at a young age would just be happy to be in the NBA and getting these accolades and, whatever happens from a team. But he's made it clear, I don't like this.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm amazing, and but I don't like the losing. I can't deal with it. Plus, you got Pop, who is,
80
million years old.
Yeah.
So, like, is he even going to be coaching?
80.
Is he even going to be coaching Victor Wembanyama in 5 years? So does that make you more interested in like trying to not slow play this thing through the draft, but maybe using draft picks to get better now so you're not losing so much? So you don't have to go through.
He's 75.
Yeah. I mean, but like that's up there,
Yeah.
That's up there. I mean, like, give him 5 more years, he'd run for president.
That's right. He's too young right now.
He's too young right now to run for president. But give him like 5 more years, he can run for president.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. But I know this. The young man they took with the first pick last year has exceeded all expectations.
Yeah,
he is just as amazing as everybody said he would be.
Number 3.
Chandler Parsons is in the news.
Oh, God. You
remember Chandler Parsons?
I remember him well.
He's in the news. He went on a podcast, Daniel Tosh.
Yep.
Daniel Tosh's got a podcast. And he was talking about his time in Memphis. And, buddy, he didn't hold back. You want to hear what Chandler Parsons had to say about Memphis, Tennessee?
I'd love to hear.
All right, let's watch this then.
Okay.
4 years? I don't know. It's a long time. I'm on a slippery slope. By the way, in Memphis, while you were in Memphis, did you worry that, like, every time you ate barbecue, that somebody was going to shit in your food?
Or get shot. That's correct.
Memphis is a fun town.
No, it's not.
Oh, it's the best.
The place sucks.
Oh.
It was the most money I ever made, and it was the most miserable I ever was.
For how long were you there?
3 years.
3 years in Memphis.
Like, the whole city smells like barbecue sauce. It's fucking dangerous. There's nothing to do at night. I would literally.
What are you talking about? You drive down to Tunica.
Yeah, exactly. Tunica Casino?
Yeah.
Dude, I would drive to Nashville. I skipped Tunica. I would go straight to Nashville.
Nashville's nice.
Yeah, but it's not for me.
People always,
It's not for me. He
the
said
normal
Memphis is
people
not for
in the
me.
world
The place sucks. Said there's nothing to do at night. He went in pretty good. How's that make you feel?
Yeah, I mean,
he's talking about your hometown.
Yeah, for sure. And listen, I understand. Listen, we were all miserable too, so don't get it twisted.
Yeah, like in fairness,
it was a miserable 3 years for all of us as well, brother.
If you were, in fairness to Chandler, if you were unhappy while you were here, we were also unhappy while you were here.
Extremely.
It wasn't good for us either, buddy. I will tell you, when Chandler was here for those 3 years, I wasn't out and about too much. That sort of settled into my life at that point. But there was one night I was out because my buddy Brent Stover was in town. He was doing play-by-play on a Memphis game, and he was staying over on a Saturday night. And I was like, hey, I'll stay downtown, and we'll just go, bar hopping like we're not old men. And so we did that, and we bumped into Chandler Parsons on the street, like on Main Street. We were just walking, and we bumped into Chandler, and so we stood there and talked on the trolley tracks to Chandler for, 10 minutes, 15 minutes or so. And I will tell you that everything he said in that clip, he more or less implied in our conversation. The first thing he said was, man, like, there's nothing to do here. There's nowhere to go. Like, where am I supposed to go? And I was like, I don't know. I'm an old man. I don't know where to tell you to go. I was going to ask you where we should go. I was maybe going to ask if we could just go with you. I don't know what to do. But he held that opinion even in real time. He was not a fan of the nightlife in Memphis, Tennessee. That's what he told me.
That's fine. Listen, I'll take he can have that. That's fine. He ain't the first person to say that. We need more things to do here at night.
Yeah.
Fine. Whatever. But the rest of it, like, F you, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's one of those things, like, you don't even want to give him the time of day because it's just like, why? Like, we don't care about you. We didn't like you when you were here. Like, you just go away.
I wish you wouldn't have said any of that. The mean stuff, like, oh, what? I was scared. I was going to get shot. Yeah, I don't need that. Like the little cheap jokes. I mean, I make them sometimes too, but like, I can make them because it's my hometown.
Mm-hmm.
I can talk of, because it comes from a place of love. He really hates Memphis like Kendrick hates Drake.
Yeah, and now listen, a lot of it, we can call it like it is. Like, we were very mean to him.
Well, okay. So I was going to play devil's advocate for a second. This is what I was going to say.
We booed him.
I would prefer him not say that stuff. It seemed unnecessary.
Uh-huh.
All right? But do you know the amount of shit this guy has taken from Memphians?
It's true. Now, and listen, you don't fault him for taking the money. It is what it is. But he did take that money knowing he was hurt and was never going to be able to give the Grizzlies what they thought they were getting out of him. And again, not his fault. You take the money, but like, dude, people are going to hold that. Fans are going to hold that against you. You knew you weren't healthy, and you took the money, and you came here anyway.
I would say that's a Grizzlies problem, not a Chandler Parsons problem.
I agree, but
the Grizzlies screwed that up, not Chandler Parsons.
I understand that, and I completely agree with that. But as a fan, you're just going to take that, for what it is and say, "Oh, screw this dude!" Like he knew he couldn't give us anything. Like,
I'm not mad at fans for being upset with the existence of Chandler Parsons. I'm just saying Chandler Parsons for years now has been cyberbullied by Memphians. They just
well, that ain't stopping now.
Yeah, it ain't stopping now. So, like, I don't know. I just try to always put myself in other people's shoes and try to see if I can understand why they're acting the way they're acting or saying what they're saying or doing what they're doing. And I'm not always successful at it, but I try.
Yeah.
And if I had spent years just every time I look at my mentions on Twitter, it's just people from Memphis and or Grizzlies fans calling me a bum, calling me a thief, calling me a clown.
Mm-hmm.
If then randomly Daniel Tosh in a public setting tees up Memphis for me, I can totally understand how I might go, all right, you know what? These people, the way they talk about me, well, let me give it back to them a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I could see how I might do that. In fact, I do that. I do stuff like that. Not to this extent, because I don't really like trashing cities, because I'm from a city that people trash.
Mm-hmm.
So I hear people sometimes be like, Milwaukee, oh, what a awful place. And I'm like, that's what people say about Memphis. You don't like it when people say that about Memphis, do you?
Mm-hmm.
No. So then why would you say that about Milwaukee, right? Treat Milwaukee the way you would like Memphis to be treated. So I don't make a habit of like trashing cities. And I can have a good time anywhere. I don't need much.
Yeah.
But I wrote a column when Indiana fired Archie Miller, and it was just sort of like wondering, like, all right, like it hasn't gone well, but they were still top 50 at KenPom, and they're still, going to bring back Trace Jackson Davis, and like, are you sure? That really was the whole column.
Yeah.
Are you sure this is really smart to pay $10 million to get rid of Archie Miller? You don't even know who your next coach is going to be at the time of the column. You don't know who's getting into the transfer portal. Like, did you just spend $10 million to make your program worse? All right? I wrote that column, and Indiana fans just jumped on it. I'm an idiot. I don't know anything. I don't know. Look up now. It ain't going so well at Indiana under Mike Woodson. All right? So when it started not going so well under Mike Woodson at Indiana, you know what I started doing? Highlighting it. Not because I grew up hating Indiana or grew up loving Purdue, but I spent years having to listen to these fans.
Mm-hmm.
That column would get retweeted at me nonstop. Oh, GP, you still think we paid $10 million to make us worse? These people kept coming at me. They would win a game, and rather than celebrate, their first thought would be me. They want to come at me and send that column again. So when Indiana started sucking under Mike Woodson, oh man, I couldn't enjoy that more.
Yep.
So how different am I than Chandler Parsons? Same thing. I didn't have no problem with these people, but then they started coming at me nonstop. So when I got an opportunity to come at them, I'm going to give it back to them a little bit. I did something like that within the past year. So I didn't like Chandler Parsons saying all that stuff. And if he was sitting here right now, I'd put my arm around him and I'd say, buddy, you shouldn't have said all that stuff.
No.
You shouldn't have said all that stuff.
We're not putting our arm around him.
I'm putting my arm around him.
No.
And say, buddy, you shouldn't have said all that stuff. But I understand why he feels that way about Memphis.
You're defending him a little too
I
much
understand
for me.
why
now
he
I want to
feels that
throw
way.
up all over this table.
Don't throw up on this table.
No. I'm with your points, and he has a right to be angry. He has the right to voice his opinion about a city that he. But I'd rather not hear his opinion at all.
I've established. That's the first thing I said.
I want him to be quiet.
That's the first thing I said.
I want him to be quiet and us to be able to still give him all the hate and online bullying.
You think we should?
Yes.
You think we should be able to?
And he has to take it. And he has to just sit there and take it.
We should be able to online bully Chandler Parsons for years, but he's never allowed to say a negative word about Memphis.
Correct.
Correct. I'm for
that's
that.
how this needs to go.
I'm for that too. I'm for that too. I just don't know if that's how the real world works. I don't know how much you know about the real world, but I don't know if that's how the real world works.
I didn't like that clip.
I didn't like that clip either.
Man.
I didn't like it either.
That made me feel some kind of way.
But how about Daniel Tosh? He tried. He was like, "Oh no, Memphis is fun." He was trying to
I got my picture with Chandler Parsons once upon a time.
See what
it was
I'm
like
doing?
the first year he was here.
See what I'm doing? You see, you turn on it.
I gotta tell you what, he did seem miserable.
Yeah,
he was at some public appearance somewhere at a furniture store or something.
Well,
he didn't seem happy.
Well, you would be miserable. I think what he said.
Why? He was getting paid to do it.
I know, but in that moment, when you're going through that, this is something I always stress. What he said, the very first thing, or among the first things he said in that clip, I believe 100% true. He said, "It's the most money I ever made, and I was miserable." Because why wouldn't you be miserable? You feel like you can't do the job you were hired to do. And I know that he knew he was hurt, but you also believe you can get back to where you were. The way that went down, my understanding of it is it was, I believe, between Portland and Memphis. And he was going to go to Portland. And Portland was going to make him take a physical.
Mm-hmm.
And Memphis was not. And the agent explained to him, you can go to Portland. I know you want to go to Portland. And if you pass this physical, they will put the $90 million on the table for you. But if you fail this physical, they're not going to offer you this money. And if you fail this physical, guess who else then ain't going to offer you the money? The Grizzlies.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Or you can sign with the Grizzlies right now, just done. It's just $90 million, and we don't have to take nothing. He said, grit and grind, signed it. That's how he ended up here. But even in that moment, I bet you he still thinks, I'll get it back. I'll be what I once was, right? And then you get here and you're not, and it becomes obvious you're never going to be. And then the whole city, you're living in this place, the whole city hates you.
Mm-hmm.
You're a symbol of something bad. Things never go our way in Memphis.
Right.
You're now on that.
No, you're the guy that ruined the greatest era of Memphis Grizzlies basketball.
It's ruined. It wasn't great, but ruined. But you're now
he derailed the Core 4 era.
Nothing ever goes our way. Mario Chalmers didn't go our way. We didn't get the NFL. That didn't go our way. And he became the latest symbol of, see, things never go our way. Mm-hmm. We went out and finally signed a big free agent, and it just is a disaster. He became the face of that. Mm-hmm. That's not fun to be the face of. I don't care how much your direct deposits are. So, of course, he was miserable. Wouldn't you have been? You're in a place you don't want to be. You can't do your job. And the entire city is everybody knows exactly how much money you make, and they're throwing it in your face every time you look at your phone. That's not fun.
No,
I understand.
Okay.
I understand why that clip bothers people, and I would rather him never say those things. But what I'm trying to say is I also understand how he could get to a place how he feels that way about Memphis, because he has endured some cyberbullying. We've cyberbullied him.
We have cyberbullied him, and it ain't stopping today, buddy.
It ain't stopping today. No. It ain't stopping today.
Just go Google Chandler Parsons or search Chandler Parsons.
Yeah.
You'll see some more.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway.
Number 4.
Apple has released a list. Top albums of all time.
Yeah, I'm actually more bothered by this than the Chandler Parsons thing.
The number 1 album of all time in the history of recorded music.
Yep.
According to Apple, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
Okay, that's not...
Lauryn Hill, who was just here in Memphis a few weeks ago. Remember, I tried to tell you I was going to be out of town, but if I wasn't out of town, I'd like to go to this festival.
Yep.
Not because I'm into festivals these days, but because that's Lauryn Hill. That's an icon. That's a legend. I'd like to see that with my own eyes.
Yeah.
Even taking my kids so they could say, we saw that legend. And now she's got the #1 album of all time.
That's right.
How about that?
According to Apple Music.
According to
I'm,
Apple
I'm an
Music.
Apple Music guy, by the way.
Okay.
I do Apple Music instead of Spotify, which is very controversial.
I do Spotify.
I do Apple. My wife does Spotify.
I think Spotify, as somebody who used to do Apple but then transitioned to Spotify, I believe Spotify is superior.
I have Spotify on my phone, and I have messed with it a little bit. I think Apple has a superior interface.
I used to be you, but I grew.
It just it catches me a little bit. I don't know. I feel like I navigate it better. I feel like I navigate it better.
Can you make your own playlist over at Apple?
I can make my own playlist. I have my own playlists. I have playlists. They're very easy. Very easy.
I never knew how to do it on Apple.
Very easy. Very easy.
I can make some playlists. I can make some playlists on Spotify.
Okay, so I guess I would probably disagree, but I have no problem with that being their #1 album of all time. That's a classic album at this point.
It's a great album. It's a classic album. It's a masterpiece.
Yeah. It's
not the best album.
It's not the best album of all time. The things that I have a problem with going through that top 100 are like, you'll see things like, and again, for example, Casey Musgraves. She's a great artist. Like she's in the top 100 somewhere, but it's like the only country music album. And I'm not a country music guy, but like, dude, where's like Willie Nelson, Garth Brooks, like these massive artists? Like some of it doesn't make sense.
You think Apple has shunned the country music genre?
Yeah, I just feel like some of this stuff on here doesn't make sense. Like they have they have Metallica on here, Master of Puppets, and I'm like, that's not even the best Metallica album.
What is the best Metallica?
I'd say Ride the Lightning, but like a lot of people probably say the Black Album. Like that's a classic album. Why is that not on there? You know, why is it Master of Puppets instead? Like,
I would vote Master of Puppets
as #1 Metallica album.
Sure.
Okay. All right. I mean, it's a great album.
Let me give you the top 10.
Okay.
#1, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. How about that? You decide I want to make an album. You only make one, and it's the greatest album
of all time.
How is that?
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Good for her.
Yep.
#2, Thriller.
Fine.
Michael Jackson.
Yep.
It's Michael Jackson, you know. #3, Abbey Road, the Beatles. Most people do not claim Abbey Road as the best Beatles album.
Yeah.
It is my favorite.
You've said that before.
It's my favorite. I don't know if it's the
one.
best. I'll let music critics fight about what's the best.
Yeah.
It is my favorite.
So I feel like that this list was curated for a younger generation, because I even read the description on that because I was like, why would they say Abbey Road's the best Beatles album on here? And basically their reasoning was because it's the one that you could put on today and not be able to tell if that was an artist from the 60s or not.
Mm-hmm.
That it's an album that if it came out today, it would still be a super popular album. And I thought about it, I was like, that actually makes sense. That album is, if you were introducing someone to the Beatles, that might be one of the ones that you play.
Perhaps it's the easiest one to just to digest.
Yes.
Right. You won't go, this sounds like it's in the 50s. And you won't go, this sounds like too weird.
Right.
Abbey Road's just, maybe that's it.
I
It's the
think
one I enjoy the most.
It's a good one.
#4, Purple Rain, Prince and the Revolution. Like, who's going to argue?
No, you can't argue that.
Who's arguing about Prince?
Here's where the big controversy starts.
Really?
I think so.
I love this album.
I like it too. But top 5?
I rank basketball teams, not albums.
Okay.
That is, of the past 20 years, I've listened to that album. I bet you it's top 10 albums I've listened to more often than any other album. Blonde by Frank Ocean. I love that album. Is that controversial?
Yes. I mean, it's the one that everyone's talking about.
That's a masterpiece.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great album. I bet you I've listened. I bet if I'd been consistently listening to Spotify for the past 20 years, and you could say, what album have you listened to more than any other? That album would be really high.
Okay. I'm going to have to give it another spin.
I love that album.
Yep.
#6, Songs in the Key of Life. Stevie Wonder. What are we doing?
I mean, you can't put Frank Ocean over that, is what I'm saying.
Maybe, but like I was just saying Stevie Wonder's got to be in the top 10. Nobody's going to argue against
and I'm
this.
trying to not sound like an old fart here.
I don't know that, like, some people would put this album #1, right? This album's been #1 on other lists. I don't know if it belongs above Frank Ocean, but it certainly belongs in the top 10 somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Good Kid, Mad City, Kendrick Lamar, number 7.
Yeah, I mean, he's such a big artist now, and he's got a bunch of he's got a good amount of classic albums at this point, right? Like he's got
Good Kid, Mad City.
Yeah.
Damn, won the Pulitzer.
So it makes sense that he won a freaking Pulitzer. It makes sense he's in the top 10. Yes.
So he won a Pulitzer with one album, and it's not even the one that's in the top 10.
the top 10,
All
yeah.
right? And I like Mr. Morale. I know that one was a little different for folks. I love the Mr. Morale album. That's one of the albums I've listened to probably as much as any other album over the past 3 or 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Number 8, Back to Black, Amy Winehouse.
I don't understand.
It's a great album.
It is
She
good,
was
but I
great.
don't understand top 10. That's fine.
I loved Amy Winehouse.
I'll accept it.
I loved Amy Winehouse.
Okay.
They got a new movie coming out about Amy Winehouse. You see that?
Yeah, I bet it ain't gonna be good.
The early reviews are not positive.
No, dude, they got to stop. Basically, Bohemian Rhapsody won that Oscar, and now everybody's like, "Oh, let's do music biopics," and like none of them are good.
But aren't they great when they're great?
Yeah, but when was the last good one? That was it, wasn't it?
Bohemian Rhapsody, people like that.
Yeah. What else?
Do we have to go all the way back to Walk the Line? People love Walk the Line.
I love Walk the Line.
Right.
That one's really good.
My buddy Joaquin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah. So
Johnny Cash, I don't think is on this top 100.
Well,
okay. Can I give you my? All right, you want to finish out the top 10? I want to give you my other egregious.
Okay, number
thing.
9 is Nevermind by Nirvana.
Classic album.
Biggest Nirvana album, but is it the best?
It's no, it's not my favorite. But
In Utero.
But it's the one that I like Bleach. But it's the one that it's the famous one, right? It's the one that made him huge.
It's the one that made him huge.
Yep.
Like kind of weird. We put a little baby penis on a CD case like that.
I know. And then that baby tried to sue.
I know. He's
Yeah.
like, "That's my penis."
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Sorry, dude.
Yeah, sorry, dude. We put your penis
Yeah,
in
it's here to stay.
yeah,
Sorry.
You're a little. That's the most famous baby penis in the world.
It is. It definitely is.
Is that the most famous baby penis in the world?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Number 10, Beyonce, Lemonade. Got no issue with that. It's
No,
classic.
no, got no issue
Classic
with that.
album.
Okay, can I give you my issue?
Sure.
All right, I went through this whole top 100. There is not one album in this top 100 that was, I believe there was one that was recorded.
Where did you find the top 100? I couldn't find the top 100.
Dude, it's on it's 100best.music.apple.com, and
What?
and I hate how they did the site because you can't just look at a big list. You have to scroll through these graphics.
Yeah, I don't like that.
But there's nothing from Memphis on here. Nothing. Literally nothing.
That's disrespectful.
There's no.
Who put together this list? Chandler Parsons?
This is a Chandler Parsons curated list. It feels like he was a part of this. I mean, dude, there's no Elvis, there's no Isaac Hayes, there's no Big Star, Booker T and the MGs, Sam and Dave, Otis Redding, Al Green. Like, there's none of that. And I'm like, come on,
Glorilla.
dude. Big Glow's not on here. 3-6 Mafia is not on there. Like, dude, there is nothing. A top 100 greatest albums of all time, there has got to be something from the city of Memphis on. Some of the greatest music ever has come out of this city, and we can't get in the top 100 of this stupid list. Come on.
So what do you declare is your greatest album of all time?
That's a good question. My greatest album of all time.
If somebody said, "What's your favorite album of all time?"
My favorite album of all time. Man, that's a loaded question, GP. I mean, I don't know if it's my favorite. I might have put Thriller at number 1.
Thriller's a great album.
It's not my favorite. I'm looking through the top 100 to see. I mean,
that was my favorite right there.
What?
That's probably my favorite album, number 26.
See, it won't let me go back. This
you hit the arrow that says go back.
No, it won't go back. See, this thing's all messed up.
I don't understand it.
I don't understand this.
My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is probably the album I've most enjoyed in my adult life. That's the album I probably listened to most in my adult life.
Okay. That's fair enough.
But I don't even know if you're allowed to say that out loud anymore. You know?
I think you can still say that out loud. Now I'm looking through my Apple Music just to see what my favorite albums of all time are. I'll leave it alone.
All right. But people are upset about Frank Ocean being in the top 5. I get it, because people don't think of all time Frank Ocean in the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not crazy to me. That's a great album, Bennett. You should give it another spin.
I'll give it a spin.
Give it another try.
Yep.
I find it to be great.
All right.
Number 5.
Netflix, in a bidding war, has purchased the rights to 50 Cent's Diddy documentary. What a wild sentence to say out loud. Can you believe all that's true? Any of it. That Diddy is over. That Diddy is over. That 50 Cent is making a documentary about it. And that Netflix got into a bidding war with every other streaming platform and won it. And now 50 Cent is he's fired up. He says he might have to make a part 2 if these accusers keep coming out of the woodworks, if that's where they come out of. There was a new accuser yesterday.
Oh, dude, Diddy is canceled in every
50
which way.
Cent, 50 Cent said he is, I don't know if he said worried, I don't know if that's the right word, but he said this fella might kill himself.
Okay, well, he's just, I know, he said he's going to stop making jokes because he doesn't want him to kill himself.
Would you kill yourself if you Diddy? I think you at least have to think about it.
See, I mean, dude.
Wouldn't you at least have to think about it at this point?
He has had a...
Like, you're probably going to jail.
He has had a brutal couple months.
Woo!
Yeah.
You're probably going to jail. You're probably broke. And the world will never look at you the same way again.
No.
Maybe it's time.
Nah, I mean, we've seen the video, dude.
They're like, your life as you knew it is over.
Yes.
It's over.
It definitely is. I mean, you're not... Because you're not going to be able to make money the way that you have made.
No, I'm
made
telling
money,
you,
right?
He is probably, like, his future probably includes these things:
jail,
prison, and bankruptcy.
Yeah.
And you're like, there is no, people will never look at you the same. You'll never be invited back to any of the stuff you were ever invited to. You'll never work the way you once worked. Like, your life is over as you knew it. And it doesn't appear that there's any redemption for you. And I'm not clear. It's not clear to me there's a way out for you. Like, they've raided your home in Miami and in LA.
Mm-hmm.
When they do that, you're going to prison.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't even think I'm doing anything illegal. And if the feds raided my house, I'd be like, I'm probably going to prison, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, I guess I'm going to prison. I guess it's over for me.
Damn, dude.
Like, would you, like, I know 50 Cent was just goofing around. He's like, I think this guy might kill himself. But I was like, it's got to be on the list of things you're considering.
I don't know what he's going to do.
I'd try to get on a plane and get out of here.
He already did that. I don't think it worked.
I'd try it again. I'd try it again.
Yeah, I don't think that worked.
I think I would try it again.
And he didn't even get on the damn top 100 Apple list.
See?
Yeah,
so nothing's going his way.
Terrible for him.
Nothing's going his way.
Yeah.
You ever look at people like this and just go, man, buddy.
I mean, dude, he's obviously, because when did the video? When was
Last Friday?
Yeah, but when was that?
2016.
Yeah, so I mean, it's been a long time coming. This dude's been living a great life for a long time.
I'm not feeling
doing
bad
bad
for him.
things.
I'm not feeling bad for him. You get what you deserve. But I just like the idea of it. This guy was handed the key to New York City less than a year ago.
I know the mayor's trying to figure out how to get it back.
They're going to go take it back. Send the feds to get that key. Send the feds to get that key. Like, this guy was just like honored and honored and honored. And now that's all over. What does that do to a person? When the people who have been your closest confidants for years can't even look at you the same way anymore. What does that do to somebody?
That's brutal.
I'm just saying it would probably be if I were Diddy, it'd be on my list of things to consider. I'd be thinking about it. Wouldn't you?
Oh, yes.
Jake?
I probably would. Yep. So, wait. Back to the documentary. 50 Cent is making a documentary?
50 Cent makes... he is in television.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah. This is what he does.
So he is making a documentary right now that Netflix has purchased.
Yes.
Yeah, he's in the process.
Like everybody was... And he got mad. I think I saw this morning. TMZ has a story on it, and they used an old file photo of 50 Cent, and he looks like he's on his heavier side.
Yeah.
And he's like, TMZ used a fat picture of me because they're mad because their Diddy documentary went to Tubi.
Dude, 50 Cent's funny.
He is funny.
Like, really funny. Online, at least. He makes me laugh.
I worked out with him one day.
No, you did not.
I mean, not with him, but like next to him.
Oh, was it intimidating? He's a big dude.
Okay, so I walk in. I used to stay at the Parker Meridian at like 56th and 6th. And there was a gym underneath it that was not technically the hotel gym, but if you were staying at the hotel, you had access to this gym. It was a really nice gym. It was underground, under the building. Like you walk in street level and you have to go down.
Yeah, okay.
And so there's no windows. And the way, they had a sauna and the weights. And this is a really nice gym, totally underground, no windows. And the way it was explained to me is that celebrities liked that because a lot of the gyms in New York City, it's like big glass windows.
Right.
And like you look up and it's like, oh, there's Jennifer Garner or whatever.
Yeah.
And so they like the idea of there's no windows. People can't really bother you, right? So I walk in the gym one day and there's this guy sitting with he's sitting on a bench and the bench is facing he's facing this way.
Okay.
So the first thing I see is a man's back and I recognize the tattoos.
Oh, yeah.
I said, man, that looks like 50 Cent's tattoos. And then I walked right past him and I was like, what's up? What's up, 50 Cent? Yeah, I actually did.
Nice.
We wrapped up our workout. His was more intense than mine.
Sure.
At roughly the same time, we happened to leave in the same elevator. We rode in the same elevator.
That's pretty cool.
He held the elevator for me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like he was in
Nice
first,
guy.
and I was walking. He held the elevator for me, and then we made that eye contact, and I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So I hit him one of these. What's up?
Yeah.
And,
That's what I do.
And he did one of those, and we just left it there. We just left it right there. Just two men respecting each other's space.
That's good.
Sharing an elevator.
Yeah, you don't want to get too aggressive on the elevator.
Like, hey, 50 Cent, can I get a picture?
Yeah.
No.
I hate those moments.
You don't know what to do?
I always want to ask, but I typically don't.
The only time of all the famous people I've been around of the past, of my adult life, I don't want to say the only time, but one of the few times I've seen somebody out in the wild, as they say, and I said, I want to get a picture with this person. The only time, I think the only time, Dwight Gooden.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I saw Dwight Gooden.
Yeah.
And I turned into a 7-year-old.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
But with anybody else, I'd never do it. I never, ever.
I don't really do it either.
I saw Chappelle walking down the street in New York one time, and I hit him with the "What's up?" And other people were taking pictures, and he was being nice. He was taking selfies, pictures. And I just felt like I'm not going to bother this guy. But maybe I should have. Maybe it was a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I worked
out with Diddy. That was the point of that story.
No, 50.
I didn't work out with Diddy. Take that back.
Yeah, take it back.
I'd never met Diddy.
No.
I'd never been around him. I'd never been in an elevator with him.
Nope.
I worked out with 50 Cent.
That's right.
I worked out with 50 Cent.
Good.
I ain't never seen Diddy. I ain't never been to his house.
Man.
I ain't never been to a party. I ain't never been anywhere with him. I think I would consider it.
No.
It might be. If you woke up tomorrow and it was breaking news, Diddy has taken his own life, that wouldn't be crazy.
It wouldn't be crazy.
I'd try to escape again.
Yeah. Get on that private jet.
I'd do something. You got to.
Yeah.
This would be a good time for him to. This would be a good time for him to start exploring his options.
Oh my God.
This would be a good time for him to start exploring his options, I think. What a mess.
I think you're probably right.
What a mess. Wow. I can't wait for that documentary, though.
I'll watch the crap out of that.
I'm gonna watch that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch that.
I'll watch the crap.
I'm
out
gonna
of
watch that on
documentary.
repeat,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
We'll be back with GP's Carryout.
I will take High School Musical with my fifth and final pick because it is a sports movie. You do got to get your head in the game. I love High School Musical. I love musicals. Sports and musicals can coexist in this beautiful world. What a beautiful, beautiful movie. Even though High School Musical 1 is not even the best of the High School Musicals.
Tune in to the Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt live every weekday at 8 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Hey, Grizzlies Grizzlies fans, turn your stadium excitement into betting action at Southland Casino Hotel. As a proud sponsor of the Memphis Grizzlies, Southland brings you more gaming action than ever before. Step onto our massive casino floor stretching more than 2.5 football fields. Slot enthusiasts can enjoy more than 2,300 machines from penny slots to high limits and play the hottest games like Aristocrat, Dollar Storm, Cloverlink, and Lightning Cash. Table game aficionados can feel the thrill of the felt with 50 live table games. From 3-card to blackjack match, we're ready to deal you in. Plus, don't miss stadium gaming for an interactive digital experience. And for high rollers, our high limit room is calling your name. Go big on 6 high limit blackjack tables or spin one of our 54 high stakes slot machines. Throw in 8 delicious dining options and a 300-room high-rise hotel, and there's plenty to keep you going. At Southland Casino Hotel, the gaming excitement never stops.
Must be 21 plus. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Let's talk about MVPs.
Let's do it. I went with the Joker.
Oh my God,
Nikola Jokic.
Nikola freaking Jokic.
Every time I watch him play, I'm so impressed.
I'm obsessed with him.
Yeah.
Everything he does works. He can pass, he can shoot, he can rebound, he can drive, he can defend. Like, he can do everything.
He can lead the fast break, and he's like 7-1.
IMHO with Lang Whitaker and me, Kelsey Wright Johnson, on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Nate Bargatze, the Be Funny Tour.
I mean, Chuck E. Cheese is rough. I don't know if you've been there in a while. They look like they're trying to go out of business and they can't.
All new material.
They filed for bankruptcy and they're still open. They called Blockbuster and they're like, how do you get out? We want out.
Nate Bargatze, Friday, May 31st, FedEx Forum. Tickets available at FedEx Forum box office or Ticketmaster.com. Produced by Outback Presents Nate Bargatze, the Be Funny Tour.
Welcome back, Gary Parrish Show, presented by Ortho South. They were in court here in Memphis, Tennessee this morning.
I saw, yep.
We're not going to auction off Graceland.
I thought cooler heads would prevail here.
It's such a weird story. Like, this Nasani Investments, like, they filed another motion today to try to have the auction, but, like, nobody can get in touch with them.
I know.
They don't have a lawyer in court today.
Yep.
They can't get in touch with a lawyer, but they're still filing motions. Who is doing this?
I know. I don't understand what
is going on.
Is it a scam, like organization, or
I don't understand any of it.
Weird. Very weird. Well, good. I'm glad that at least
I kind of wanted to auction off Graceland. But the judge said no.
I liked our ideas yesterday, but I'm glad Graceland's, staying in its current form.
The judge said auctioning off Graceland would do irreparable harm.
To who?
I think the world.
Probably the world.
Yes. Irreparable harm to the world.
I mean, it is the second most visited home in America.
We're just going to auction it off.
Yeah. Dude, this is, and again, like, we're talking about this. This is one of the biggest stories. Elvis couldn't even get on that damn top 100 Apple Music album.
You're caught up on that.
I mean, that's crazy that
find
nothing
that
from
offensive.
Memphis is on there. That's why it's stupid. I'm switching to Spotify, bro.
Chandler Parsons probably did that list.
Yeah, Chandler Parsons definitely did the Apple Music.
I can't believe
list.
Apple let Chandler Parsons put together a list.
I liked you, Apple.
I liked you, Apple, too. I liked you, Apple. But do you see now why I'm Team Spotify? They show more respect over there at Spotify.
Where's the Spotify top 100?
Yeah, give us a Spotify.
Let's drop that one.
Top
Compare.
100
Yeah,
it's gonna have a Yo Gotti at number 1. That's gonna be our.
That'd be awesome.
And that's gonna be our favorite list.
That would be awesome.
Anyway, they're not auctioning off Graceland.
Good.
It's boring. I like that one. I liked it.
I know you did, but Graceland needs to stay how it is.
That's what.
It's all about preservation.
That's what the judge said.
We're not changing the TVs. We're not putting a big green egg in the backyard.
Bennett.
It's all about preservation. History.
No, that sounds like something somebody with a beard would say.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to keep things the way they used to be, huh?
You're damn right.
Just don't want the world to change too much.
No.
This
is America after all.
These are all code words, I think. One day you try not to get a big green egg put into Graceland. Next day, it's January 6th.
Couldn't even put Garth Brooks in that top 100.
You really bothered by that?
What kind of country do we live in?
I don't know. Man, I know one thing, though. It ain't been the same since Dale died.
It sure ain't been the same since Dale died.
Let's do GP's carryout.
It's time for GP's Carryout. One final segment filled with stuff to take with you. It's not everything you need to know, but it's most of it. What did we learn today?
I mean, we learned a lot today. We learned a lot about both Diddy and 50 Cent.
Yes.
More
than I want to know.
I've only worked out with one of those people. Not everybody can say that.
That is pretty cool.
I've only worked
That's
out
pretty
with
cool.
one of those people,
I like
and it's
that.
not Diddy. I've never worked out with Diddy, never even been in the same room as that guy, that scoundrel.
Yeah.
That low life. He looks like a real scumbag.
Seems like it.
He's crazy, too. Like, he blew up Kid Cudi's car.
Dude, we're going to get some stories out of this whole thing. We're going to get some stories.
Woo.
Uh-huh.
He blew up Kid Cudi's car. We just act like that didn't happen.
I have a feeling he's going to try to bring some folks down with him, too. I bet there's people erasing stuff right now as we speak.
Be erasing everything.
He ain't going down alone.
You don't think Diddy goes down by himself?
No, he's bringing someone with him.
Who you think?
I don't know.
I don't either.
One of those reality TV groups that he did the show for.
They coming out against him, too.
They are.
Aubrey O'Day. You familiar with her?
What was she in? Danity Kane? Was that it?
Kane?
Danity Kane?
Yeah.
I remember the show.
Yeah. She said Diddy was a monster.
Wait, who were the ones that he made walk like all the way across New York to get him cheesecake?
I don't know that one.
That was like, they were making a group, and he like made this like group of people like walk miles across New York City to get him a piece of cheesecake. So wrong.
He seems like a real lowlife, this guy.
Something's wrong with him.
I think that's been established.
Yeah, something's wrong with him.
I think that's been established. He said he's gonna get help, you know?
Okay.
He needs it. Sounds like he needs
That's
it.
the thing you should probably say right now. Yeah.
If anybody, I mean, I guess we all kind of need some help.
Yeah, of course we do.
But like, some of us need it more than others.
Yeah.
And I think he needs it more than others.
Yikes. Making the Band was the show.
Yep.
What's today's biggest game?
Western Conference Finals. We're in Minnesota. To quote the great Karl Anthony Towns,
We're at the Target Center.
We're in Minnesota. We're at the Target Center in Minneapolis.
Love the Target Center. Love it.
It's game one of a best-of-7 series. Minnesota's a 4.5-point favorite tonight.
Ooh.
Total's 206.5. You won last night with the Pacers. So you're now 117, 120, and 4. Negative 15.9 units, but only 3 games below 500.
I want to... I think Minnesota's going to win this series. I think it's got a chance to be a good series. Dude, I don't know how Dallas is going to match with the size of the Timberwolves. That's the thing. I don't love 4.5. I'll go Timberwolves. It is the Target Center after all.
Don't we want to root for Anthony Edwards? Isn't that what's most fun?
Yeah.
That's what I want to do.
Yeah, I think so. I like Luka. I like this series, man.
I can't wait.
Yeah,
I didn't care about last night.
Yeah.
I watched it because it got good and interesting. So I watched it, but I didn't care going in. I care about this one.
Do I want to root for Luka tonight?
I don't. I want to root for Mike Conley.
I do think
Anthony
he's the best
Edwards.
player in the world.
I know.
Can you imagine if they get to the finals and win the championship?
I can imagine that, sure.
We're going to have to clip it. We're going to have to clip it if that happens.
Okay, Bennett. Bennett's already...
Best player in the world.
Bennett's already trying to get clips done. That ain't even happened yet.
We'll go Timberwolves. I think we'll go
Minnesota
Timberwolves.
minus 4.5. Tip is at 7:30. You can watch it on TNT.
What are we watching on TV?
Oh, can I interest you in the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon? Guess who's on tonight?
Who's Jimmy got?
You got a lot of people.
Not Diddy.
Not Diddy.
No.
He's not doing interviews right now. Can't blame him for that.
Right.
Jeremy Renner.
Oh, we're going to talk about how he almost died.
Best actor ever to get run over by a snowplow.
Yeah.
What, you don't? This man nearly died. He really did almost die.
I'm aware.
Are you tired of hearing about it? Enough is enough. Oh, I almost died in a snowplow.
It's all every time he gets brought up, it's like, oh, he almost died in a snowplow accident. I'm like, okay,
you're over it.
I'm kind of over it.
You're kind of, this man almost died.
It's like Chandler Parsons talking about Memphis. Like, shut up, dude.
Shut up already. I don't know, man. Hell, nothing like having almost died in a slow plow has ever happened to me, and I tell my stupid stories over and over again.
Jeremy Renner's an interesting dude. Did you know that he's an artist, like a musical artist? Like, he has music videos. I had no clue until the past couple years. There are Jeremy Renner music videos out there.
Why? Why did he do that?
I don't know.
I'd rather get run over by a snowplow than listen to Jeremy Renner's music.
Oh, you haven't listened to it. You should go check it out.
Should I? Maybe it's better if I just don't know that.
Don't know that it exists.
Yeah. Sometimes it's better just not to know stuff. You know, Bennett? I don't need to know everything.
Yeah.
I don't think I needed to know that.
I didn't mean to be insensitive. That is, he did almost die in a snowplow accident.
Yeah, he got ran up.
I've heard about it 5,000 times.
He was trying to save somebody else, and then it almost cost him his own life.
Yeah.
He was willing. He risked his own life.
What's he going on Fallon for to promote?
Snowplows.
See. That's the thing. He ain't even got nothing to promote.
I bet he does.
Talk about the snowplow accident again.
Jeremy Renner new movie. Yeah, he's got a new movie.
What is it?
I don't know. He was in The Mayor of Kingstown. Care about that at all?
No.
Avengers: The Kang Dynasty. What is that?
That's been shelved. That's done because what's his name got canceled. Jonathan Majors.
Man.
Yeah.
It's tough out there, huh?
Yep.
I'm sure Jeremy Renner's got something to promote. I just can't find it right now. But, if he doesn't...
My point proven.
If he doesn't...
That's why when you said that, I was like, what's he going on there for?
If he does, we got that snowplow story, dog. You can always circle back to that snowplow story.
I'm sure you will.
If they're running, if they got some time to fill, they can always just circle back to that snowplow story.
Yeah.
It's a wild story.
It's a wild story.
I don't have any stories as good as that one, and I tell them all the time.
I don't have any good stories like that either. So.
Yeah. Like, if you got ran over by a snowplow and nearly died, you might tell that story too, Bennett.
I probably would.
Yeah.
I probably would. Okay. All right, Jeremy. Get your stories off.
What's the best thing we've read?
If you want to get caught up on our Graceland situation, Aaron Fleming's got a story posted at dailymemphian.com. Judge blocks potential Graceland sale. Thank God for this judge.
Thank God.
Man, if it wasn't for this judge, ain't no telling what would be going on right now.
Yeah.
Could be selling Graceland. Who would we sell it to? I still think it should be Gigi Jackson.
I was for that, actually. That would be cool.
That would have been fun.
Yeah.
So
you want a good Memphian to have control of it. Yeah.
Somebody who's fun, somebody who appreciate it. I feel like Gigi'd have a good time over there.
I do too.
Yeah. But for now, we're not going to auction off Graceland.
Good.
I think as selfish as I could be about things sometimes, I think
this is the right thing.
I think it's probably the right thing.
What's on tap for tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow's Thursday. Hey, Drew Hill's going to come join us.
Yes.
He covers the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yes, he does.
DailyMemphian.com.
That's right.
He'll sit here in studio.
He'll be here. I won't be here. I got preschool graduation tomorrow.
Preschool graduation. Mm-hmm. You excited about that?
I'm really excited.
Mm-hmm.
My boys make a little speech tomorrow before the graduation. Shout out to Noah. Love you, buddy.
Oh, he's got
congratulations.
Has he rehearsed his speech?
He has. We've been practicing. Yep.
Well, that's going to be exciting.
Yep. It's going to be good.
And then what comes after pre-K? Solid K?
Kindergarten incoming.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Big day.
Yep.
Well, congratulations to everybody involved. You have any idea who's going to be sitting here with me?
I'll figure something out.
We'll figure something out.
CJ will be here.
CJ will be here. All right. We'll have fun. I can't wait for tomorrow. I'm going to miss you. But we'll have fun tomorrow.
Miss you too, man.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to enjoy mine. We're going to meet back here tomorrow at 10. Till then, be careful, be kind, be good. Rep your hood.